All right, humanities students, we are in the home stretch, part 3, last section of Fahrenheit 451. All right, let's start with the title here of part 3. Part 3 is titled Burning Bright, and let's take each piece of this separately. So burning is where we started the novel. It was a pleasure to burn. So this brings us back to the beginning. And those first lines, it was a special pleasure to see things blackened and to see things changed, right? So when we see this title burning, we immediately think of fire and we think of destruction. But Bradbury here is pairing this with bright. And taken on its own, bright is something that we associate with light. And that's something that typically we see as being very positive. We associate this with preservation, right? So the flip side of fire's symbolism, but he's putting these two things together. So burning bright is this meaning that there's a fire in the society raging out of control. Is this a bad thing? Is this they're just destroying everything? Or is this more like burning bright as in a sign of hope? Maybe you think like a candle or a light in the dark, burning bright, guiding you. So just like fire, this part 3 could go either way, right? We're not quite sure what's going to happen here for our main character, Montag, especially when we think about this crazy cliffhanger that Bradbury leaves us with at the very end of part 2, where Montag says, "Why? We've stopped at my house." So remember, we left Montag responding to a call about someone who's harboring books. And when he drives up, shocker, it's his home. So his plan with Faber that they would be planting books in firemen's homes in order to sort of topple the system from within is obviously not going to work because Beatty has been 2 steps ahead of him. He is caught. So let's get started with part 3. Lights flicked on and house doors open all down the street to watch the carnival set up. Montag and Beatty stared, one with dry satisfaction, the other with disbelief. At the house before them, this main ring in which torches would be juggled and fire eaten. So part 3 opens, and Beatty is satisfied because he's caught Montag. He gets to see the shock and the disbelief on Montag's face when he realizes that they have come to respond to a call at his own house. And Bradbury also uses this really great metaphor. So remember, a metaphor is a comparison between two things without using like or as. So he says that all the people basically come out, open up their doors, look out their windows to see the carnival being set up. So in this metaphor, we've got a carnival, right, with the main ring, torches being juggled, fire eaten, all the things that we typically associate with a carnival or a circus. And this is being compared to Montag's house getting burned. So why would Bradbury use this metaphor, comparing burning this house down to a carnival? What are things that we think about, that we associate with carnivals? And how is that fitting for what's happening here? Well, typically, when we think of a carnival, we think of fun. We think entertainment, right? We think spectators. Sometimes we have this negative connotation too. We think freaks, right? That we're going to see people, especially when carnivals first started. This was where you went to see the bearded lady or the shark woman, right? These individuals who were either through various deformities or through prosthetics that they were dressing up as, were setting themselves up as something abnormal in society. So for these people, seeing someone's house get burned is fun. It's entertaining. It's a chance to see the freaks of nature, to laugh at others' misfortune, to be a spectator. Well, said Beatty, now you did it. Old Montag wanted to fly near the sun, and now he's burnt his damn wings. He wonders why. Didn't I hint enough when I sent the hound around your house? Montag's face was entirely numb and featureless. He felt his head turn like a stone carving to the dark place next door, set in its bright border of flowers. So, Beatty says, now you've done it. Montag wanted to fly near the sun, and he's burnt his wings, and he wonders why. So lots of great literary devices in this opening page. In this case, he's using here an allusion. And maybe some of you might actually recognize this. He's alluding here, talking about how Montag wanted to fly near the sun and now he's burnt his wings, to the story of Icarus and Daedalus. This is a story from Greek mythology. So some of you guys may have studied this earlier in the year in humanities. The story of Icarus and Daedalus is this really great story. Daedalus here was the father, and he was a master craftsman. He was an amazing inventor. And he had invented the labyrinth to contain the Minotaur for King Minos. But after he had given the secret away, King Minos imprisoned him and his son, Icarus, in a tower that had no way in and no way out. But Daedalus, being the master inventor that he was, slowly and carefully collected feathers from the birds that would fly near their tower and the wax from the candles that they were given. And from this, he fashioned wings. Now, we've seen Bradbury using birds over and over in this text, comparing them to books, because wings and birds are symbolic of freedom. And just like Icarus and Daedalus, Montag has been imprisoned. Like all these other people in society, he's imprisoned by their restrictions, by their censorship, by their technology and mindless pleasure that they're all so inundated with, their instant gratification. And now he's trying to get away from it. He's trying to escape this. And what happens to him is he's caught and he has to burn his own house. And this is very fitting because in the story of Icarus and Daedalus, they fashion these wings, but Daedalus tells his son Icarus, don't fly too close to the sun because the sun will melt your wings and you will fall to your death. And unfortunately, that's exactly what Icarus does. He gets so caught up in the pleasure of flying that he goes higher and higher, and he can't hear his father calling to him, telling him to come back to the middle course. And sure enough, the sun melts the wax off his wings, and he falls to his death in the ocean. So this story, while the wings symbolize freedom, it ends up being very tragic because Icarus dies. So Icarus ends up falling into the ocean to his death. And we see this here with Beatty's comment. Old Montag wanted to fly near the sun, and now he's burned his damn wings. He wonders why. So Montag, in a lot of ways, is like Icarus. He's trying to escape his imprisonment. He's trying to escape this society. He's trying to gain freedom, but he goes too far, too fast. He's not careful, and he's caught. And he's caught in the fire, right? Just like the sun is fire. Beatty is the fire chief, and he's there to have Montag burn his own house and then presumably be sent to prison. Now Montag turns and he looks at the dark place next door. He's looking over at Clarice's house. Beatty snorted. Oh, no, you weren't fooled by that little idiot's routine now, were you? Flowers, butterflies, leaves, sunsets. Oh, hell. It's all in her file. I'll be damned, I've hit the bullseye. Look at the sick look on your face. A few blades of grass and the quarters of the moon. What trash! What good did she ever do with all that? Montag sat on the cold fender of the dragon, moving his head half an inch to the left, half an inch to the right, left, right, left, right, left. She saw everything. She didn't do anything to anyone. She just let them alone.